Hi there, today is the 3rd of September 2024. So in this video, I'll be continuing from where I left off in the previous video, which is to continue developing apps using Python and using the Python Kivy library specifically. So in this video, I'll be building an app that'll be the Guess the Cup game. So there'll be 3 cups showing, and the object of the game is to guess in which cup is the ball located. So we can accumulate scores for guessing correctly, and we can keep a tally on the person with the higher score. So that is a basic functionality of the game that I wish to develop using Python and Kivy. So for this, we can just continue using the code created in the previous video, but adapt that to this new app, this new game. So first of all, to go into that virtual environment, we need to activate that virtual environment, and we can do that, if you remember, by running the actual alias command that we created inside the bash run command script, the bash run command file. So if we do a concatenation output of the contents of the bash rc file like that, so that command, in order to activate the virtual environment, is this one here, which is to activate it. And if you recall, we need to run it with the dot and then space and then the actual file, so that this script applies the settings into the current shell and not into a separate shell. And after that, we can change directory into the project directory underneath the parent folder in that environment. So what I'll do now is I'll just run that alias, which is kv240903, in order to activate that virtual environment. And now I'm inside the parent folder for the projects in that environment. So if I do an ls-l to list the contents of that directory, currently we just have the one folder, which is hello world, from the previous video. So what I can do is that I can just copy that folder, hello world, into a new one, and we'll call it cup game, for example, like that. And then I can now go inside cup game, and then I can make the changes necessary to change the hello world program that we had before into this cup game program. So I can just rename that from main.py to cupgame.py like that. And so I can now edit the cupgame.py by entering vi cupgame.py like that. So first of all, I'll just go to the comments picked up by the Python lint. And so at the very top there, it says unable to import the Kivy.app. So I will ignore this because I know that it's able to do that. But I think because we're using a virtual environment, that is not being picked up by the lint for the Python. The lint is the syntax of the Python language syntax analyzer. But I'll just ignore that. Similarly, for the next one, unable to import the UIX dot label, I think it's working fine, except that, as before, this isn't able to pick up the actual virtual environment and the location of these packages. And then after that, we get missing class docstring. So what this is that in the Python programming ecosystem, there is a tool called PyDoc that one can use to generate documentation for a specific app or project. And so in order to provide the actual information for that documentation, then we can use what we call docstring. So these are strings or lines of text that begin and end with a triple double quote. So for example, if we wish to perhaps add a docstring for this file, cupgame.py, then we can at the very start add in the triple double quotes at the top, and then add in a triple double quotes at the end of the section. And then we can add something like file name is cupgame.py, and then we can add a description to it, such as this is the main module for the cup game app, like that. So that's it's a description, and we can add a date like that as well. And also author, and also the usage rights. like that. So that is the docstring for this module, and if we go to the line where it says missing class docstring, then what we need to do is that underneath the class declaration where it says class and then space class 1 open brackets app, we need to enter the triple double quotes there and just add in the description for this class. So we can say class 1 is the main class for this app, like that. And similarly, we can do the same for the function as well. So it says missing function or method docstring, then we can do the same. Underneath the declaration for that show underscore string 1 function, we can just add a docstring with the open triple double quotes and the closed triple double quotes, and say something like this function shows string 1 and string 2. And similarly for the build function of the class, I could say this is the build function for class 1. So those are the doc strings sorted. And then after that we have using global for string 1, but no assignment is done. So when we're using globals, then we don't need to declare them inside the function unless they're being assigned. So for this we can just comment this out using the hash symbol as the comment symbol inside Python. And similarly for the other one as well, over here, like that. And then after that we have this warning here, which is saying formatting a regular string, which could be an F string. So what this is that I was using the percentage sign string formatting, whereas we now have a new way of formatting strings inside Python, which is called the F string. So this new way is now the preferred way, and the old way is the deprecated way. So in order to get rid of this warning, what we can do is that we can now use the new way to format the strings inside Python. So to do that, we just need to use the F letter like that, and then instead of using the %s, we just use the curly brackets, and we just place the strings inside the curly brackets like that. And so that is string 2. So now we have this F, and then we have the open double quotes or the double quotes, and then we have the open curly brackets, and then we have self.string, and then the closed curly brackets, and then the space, and then the curly brackets again, and then we have the second string in there, which is string 2 in uppercase. And then we can now get rid of the rest of the line like that. So this is the F string method of formatting strings. And we can do the same to the other one underneath. So where text equals, we can put the letter F in front of the double quotes, and then for the first %s, we can just replace that with the curly brackets, and in the curly brackets we can just insert the self.string 1. And then similarly for the second %s, we can just delete that and replace that with the string 2 in uppercase inside the curly brackets like that. And then we can leave the exclamation mark, and then we need to have the other double quotes, and then we can just close the brackets like that. So that now looks okay. So now if I save this like this and enter Python and then the name of the file, which is cupgame.py, like that, and press enter. So here is the app, and it's working fine, the same as before. And so now if that window is slightly too big, then we can change the size of that a couple of ways. We can change the size of the window by just specifying the size of the window at the command prompt, at the command line, using minus minus size and then equals, and then let's say 150 x 100 if we want this to be 150 pixels by 100. And so this is now the new size of the app. Like this. Alternatively, we can specify that within the code itself. So to do that, we can just go inside the code, and we'll need to import the window library. So we need to import from the library, which is called kivy.core.window, and then we can import that into an object called window with the capital W, and then we can resize it by just setting the size of this object to 150 pixel by 100. And now if we just save this file and exit and just run python space cupgame.py, so now it'll display the app within the new size of the window, like that. And then if we take a look finally at the remaining warning messages inside the file from the pylint, so everything looks okay except that it's still unable to import these libraries. And as mentioned earlier, the reason why this is happening is because we are inside a virtual environment, but the pylint was installed inside the general environment. So there is a way of getting around this, which is to install something called the pylint-venv or venv. So we can do that inside the general environment. So first of all, I need to deactivate the current virtual environment, like that. So if I run a pip show on pylint now, so that is now showing that it's this is the lint that's installed in the general environment. So I can install the pylint-venv like that, which will allow us to get around this problem according to the articles that I've researched on the web. So once that's installed, then we need to create a file inside the home directory with the name of .pylint-rc, like this. And then in this file, we need to enter the section name, which is main, in uppercase, and then the setting for the init hook, which equals try, and then import pylint underscore venv, and then accept import error pass, and then else pylint underscore venv dot init hook, open and close brackets like that, and save that. So that is in the general environment. So now if we start the virtual environment by typing in kv240903 like that, and now if we go inside the cupgame folder and edit the file again, cupgame.py, so now if we just type in something erroneously like that, so it's picked up the error, and if we correct it, now it has gone away. So now the actual messages that we were getting before about unable to find the libraries are no longer showing, so that has fixed the problem. And so what I would do now is that because this file is called the cupgame.py, to make sure that this is run as the main module inside the application, and not to allow it to be called as a submodule in another application. So what I can do is that I can add an if statement here, which says if the name equals main, then run the class like that. So this will only run if this is called as the main. So if this is called from the Python itself, from the actual command line, then it'll work. Otherwise, if it's not, if it's called as some submodule within another application, then nothing will happen, because it will not fulfill the condition whereby the name of the module is the main module. So now if we just save this and exit, and once again run Python space and then cupgame.py like that. And so now here is the window for the application, and everything is working fine. So now we can now proceed to start making the changes for the cup game itself. So for this, if we go back inside the file, the cupgame.py, and I think we need to make the window slightly larger. So instead of 150 pixel by 100 pixel, perhaps we can make it something like 300 pixel wide by, let's say, 200 pixel high. And then as regards the contents or the layout of the window, I think we'll need to have 3 buttons, one each for the 3 cups. And then as well as that, we need to have a label so that we can display the actual result of whether it was a successful guess or whether it was wrong. And then after that, we'll need to import the widget library by entering from Kivy dot and then UIX dot and then widget, import widget like that. And then after that, we'll need to create the class for the widget, and we can do that by, for example, just entering class space and then a name for the widget, such as widget 1, and then pass into that the base class of widget from the library like that. And then we can pass this like this. And then within the main class for the app itself, we can just rename the build to something like XX build, so that it doesn't become the default build for the class. And then for the new build function for the class, we can just pass or display the actual widget itself. So we can just say return and then widget 1 like that. And then we keep the rest the same because we need to run the class. And so how do we display the 3 buttons and the label? So for that, we need to create a separate file called class1.kv. So I'll just open that file. So it's called class1.kv like that. So for this, if we remember that the actual name of the object for this widget with the widgets in them is widget 1, so inside the class1.kv we need to create a tag with the same name but in lowercase called widget 1, and then we need to add in first of all the label at the very top like that, and then let's say in that label we can have the text label 1 like that. And we need to be careful here because we need to make sure that it's indented correctly, the same as it would be in a normal Py program or Py source code. And so we need to make sure that it's got spaces rather than tabs. And then as regards to position, this needs to be at the very top of the window. So if we remember that as regards the size of the window, it's going to be 300 pixels wide and 200 pixels high, and so as regards the position, this needs to be at the far left, which is 0, and as regards the position of where it's located, then this needs to be 100, and as opposed to 0, 0, it needs to be 0, 100 for the position, because the actual origin for calculating the positions inside Kivy is that the origin is at the bottom left as opposed to the top right. So if we need to calculate the actual position or the start position of any object, we need to take it from the bottom left corner as the starting position, as the origin of that location of that object, rather than at the top left. So that's why it's 0, 100 as opposed to 0, 0 for the top left. And then after that we need to specify the actual size. So bearing in mind that the actual window size is 300 pixels wide, so we say that it needs to be 300 pixels wide across the entire width of the window, and then it needs to be 100 pixel high, so it'll be half the height of the window. So that is the label. And after that we have the buttons. So we have button 1, so we'll call this BTN1 like that. And as regards the position, because this will be at the bottom left is the origin, so this needs to be 0, 0. So the bottom left corner of this button needs to be at the origin, which is 0, 0. And the size is 100 by 100. And then similarly for the two other buttons, they can be called button 2 and button 3. And as regards the position, so this button 2 is 100 pixels to the right, and as regards the size it's the same, and as regards the button 3, then it'll be 200 pixels to the right like that. So now if we save this file and then run python space cupgame.py, okay, so I think this is because we're not using spaces, we're using tabs. So if you do a search on tabs, so this needs to be 8 spaces rather than 8 tabs. And so if we now save the file and we run python space cupgame.py, okay, it's looking slightly weird. This should be half the height rather than nearly the entire height of the window. So we'll just stop this and we'll just look at the size. Okay, so the size should be 100, 100, like that. So we'll just save this file and just rerun python space cupgame.py, and there it is. So at this stage I think this video is long enough, so we'll continue in the next video. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you found it useful and informative. Don't forget to share, like and subscribe. And until next time, I hope you have a nice day.